I almost didn't make this video. Just a few weeks ago, it was one of the darkest points in my entire life. And this isn't meant to be a pity video. This is just meant to be a video of what many of us experience. Today I'm filming at the beach because it's a place that it helps me remove myself from my looping thoughts. I think a lot of us that are overthinkers, we tend to ruminate, and we ruminate on one problem that happened and then this other thing, and our mind can kind of spiral. And being outside of the beach is a place where those thoughts tend to lose a lot of their power. I'm personally on a healing journey. I'm on a journey to heal my mental health, my physical health, my nervous system. And something that I want to share is that healing isn't linear. I think sometimes a lot of us, we just want to feel better, whatever it is that you're going through, whether it's chronic pain, whether it's anxiety, whether it's depression, whether it's grief. We're just looking for, am I feeling better today? Do I feel better than just yesterday? I felt better for a few days and now I feel bad again. Am I back to square one? And a lot of us have that fear, and it's one of my current fears as well. But something that I'm learning is that healing isn't linear. It doesn't mean that bad days never come. I'm just learning that bad days do happen. They're just happening less frequently. But it's a process. What happened to me is that there was a series of stressors in my life, including chronic pain, which started to affect my work because I had some really bad RSI, which I'm still healing from, and that started to affect my work, my career. The career that I had built felt like it suddenly fell apart. That led to me being in a state of a lot of panic, a lot of worrying about the future, a lot of worrying how am I going to make a living, a lot of worrying of am I going to get better, a lot of worrying about being hyper aware of the chronic pain. And that went on for 6, 7, 8, 9 months. And at around month 9, because I had been in a state of so much worry, my nervous system eventually started to fall apart. I started to experience what I believe could be symptoms of interoception. So your nervous system is too heightened to your internal senses. I started to experience hyperacusis, which is severe sound sensitivity. It got so bad that there was days that I couldn't even go outside because regular traffic just felt absolutely awful. I had moments where I couldn't even wear a sweater just because the fabric in itself was burning my skin. And then that's led to sleep issues. And then symptoms of dissociation and even some episodes of derealization. And my absolute lowest was about two months ago. It was one of those days that it felt like it was going to be one of my last days. And that is the scary thing about depression, is that it kind of takes a mind of its own. And mind you, I didn't plan to hurt myself or anything, but there was such a definitive thought that really scared me. Like, why am I thinking this way? And around that time is when I took myself to seek help, because it really scared me that the depression was kind of taking this mind of its own. And something that I started to learn over the last couple of months while I'm going through this healing journey is that it's not necessarily about thinking positively. Yes, that is a part of it. But the other part of it is about how do you regulate your nervous system? How do you tell your body that you're in a state of safety? How do you tell your body and your mind that things are okay? One of those things, for example, is like being out here at the beach and being here with this little guy. What I started to do is whether I was having... Sometimes it's difficult when you're at the lowest of your lows, but when I had some really bad days, I forced myself to do something that day. I forced myself to... Okay, he wants to stand. I forced myself to go to the gym, to do some hard cardio. I forced myself to go on a walk, I force myself to sit at the beach. I force myself to socialize. Not big parties, because that can be really overwhelming, but to go for a coffee with a friend or two. And that way you start to tell your body, because I think when we're in this healing journey, sometimes we tend to hide. We don't want to make symptoms worse. And because we don't want to make symptoms worse, we start to avoid life. You start to avoid that coffee meetup. You start to avoid that walk because things might be too loud. You start to avoid working on certain projects. You start to avoid life. You start to avoid going to the gym because you're in such a bad state that it makes you afraid that maybe it's going to make things worse, or you just feel like you just mentally can't do it anymore. Come here, Baba. Of course, you don't want to go and run a triathlon, but you want to show your body that these simple life things are okay and they're safe. And I'm about a couple of months of trying to implement some of these things, and I've noticed some differences, but what I was saying in this video is that it's not linear. And because your nervous system, or because my nervous system at least, is so sensitized, I find that certain stressors can really set me back. And I'm learning to, if those stressors happen and my symptoms reappear, that's okay. That's okay, and I'm learning to accept that healing is not linear. Healing, it's a process. Healing is a process that takes time, and there's setbacks, and that's part of it. I'm making this video because I know there's a lot of people that make videos once they're recovered. I don't know if I've seen many videos of people who are actively healing, who are actively in the process of experiencing some of those really bad days, who are actively let's go, boo boo. Let's go. Trying to learn to relive life. And that's where I'm at today. I'm healing. It's a work in progress. Things are getting better. The progress that I've seen in the last 2 months has been incredible. And that doesn't mean that life is easy in this moment. There's easier days. But I'm teaching my nervous system and reteaching my mind that life is okay. To not be so afraid of things. And if stressful things do happen, I mean, I had, a stressful situation at work yesterday, and it did kind of set me back a little bit. But you know what? I'm here at the beach. I'm here with my furry little friend. Hi, boo-boo. Because this is what a lot of you are going through. A lot of you are in this process of active healing. And that's part of the process. And I want to be honest with how this process is going. And I hope by you seeing a video like this, it will give you some hope, and it will make you feel not so alone. That if you're having those setbacks and those bad days, you're not the only one. And I know that when you're going through this, it can feel really lonely. It can feel like a lot of the people around you don't understand. Sometimes people around you can be really judgmental, your close friends, especially if they sense that you're pulling back. People can take that personally, and sometimes that can even make you feel more alone. But sometimes you pull back because you need space, because you're dealing with these overwhelming feelings and sensations. And when people around you in life don't understand, that can add to you not feeling very well, especially if you don't feel supported. I'm also in the process of decluttering my life from social media. Of course, I still have a phone, I still have technology, but just watching a lot less shorts, stopping the doomscrolling, because I have found that has been a big contributor to slowing my healing. There's times that I start to feel better, and then I go back into this old habit of doomscrolling, and then I can feel it in my body. I can feel how it affects my sleep very quickly. I can feel how it can resurface a lot of these emotions. And something that I've been doing is trying to clear my life from some of that. And I've noticed a difference, both in the good and the bad. A difference when I take a pause from that, and also a difference when I re-engage in it, and how it re-triggers my symptoms. I need to be careful with the things that I consume and the things that I do, and so do you. I don't have everything figured out. I'm in the process of doing this, and I'm simply just documenting this journey. I'm documenting it with the hopes of being candid and letting you know that you're not alone, and maybe there's somebody out on the internet who you can relate to, who is having these setbacks in real time and who is figuring this out. I don't have all the answers, and I don't need to have all the answers. And that's part of healing too, is to be okay sometimes with the unknowns, to let go of attachment to outcomes, to let go of needing to know every single answer about your health. Because I think a lot of people that deal with nervous system sensitivity, they can also be people that have OCD traits or health OCD, or they tend to ruminate. And sometimes we as overthinkers, we have to learn to become okay with uncertainty, and that's something that I'm actively trying to learn as well. Remember that healing is not linear. If you're having a setback today, that's okay. It's part of the process. And wherever you are in this journey, I hope you continue to have a wonderful day and a day of healing. Have faith in your recovery, faith in yourself. Learn to let go of uncertainty, and it will get better. Bye-bye.